Hello everyone, welcome back to IT and Research Accelerator. In today's practical ICT tutorial, we are going to learn the essential Microsoft PowerPoint skills that everyone should know because we use this application for making our presentations. So this lesson is designed for beginners who need to create, maybe it could be a class presentation, a meeting presentation, a project presentation, or maybe you need to create seminar slides, research defense, anything that needs to be presented. By the end of this video, you will know how to create a presentation, add and organize slides, choose suitable layouts, insert text and pictures, apply themes, add transitions, animations, and be able to run a slideshow, and also saving your presentation correctly. Let us begin with opening the Microsoft PowerPoint application. First, we click on the Start button or the Search bar. Start button is here. Even when we put a cursor there, as you can see, it will first start, or here on the Search. Whichever is more comfortable for you, you just be able to use it, and you put Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, please note, there are these others which are results from the web. So sometimes it's very easy to make a mistake and maybe you click any of these, but we are more interested in the PowerPoint application. It has the word up. We click open. Now, when we click open, first it is going to show us on the screen something called click blank presentation, or something called blank presentation. We can click in it, but it has other templates. Since we said it is a beginner, then we'll select the blank presentation. You may also see the ready-made templates, but for this lesson, just a blank one is going to be helping us for purposes of understanding how different tools work. Now, we start by understanding the PowerPoint interface. This is the Microsoft PowerPoint working environment. At the top, we have the ribbon, which contains tabs like Home, Insert, Draw, Design, and so on and so forth. And these things and more are some of the things we are going to play around with. Up here, we have the name of the presentation. So far, by default, it has been, it is showing presentation 1, but we'll rename it at a later point. On the left side, we have the slide thumbnail pane, where it is going to be displaying all the slides in the presentation, and it is going to allow us to move between them on the left. The larger area is the center, or it's the current slide where we are going to be editing and adding content. You see, this is larger than the one on the left. And at the bottom, we have different viewing options and zoom control. This zoom control can help us to zoom, to increase. For example, we'll be zooming in, or we can be zooming out. We have a slideshow, we have a slide sorter. These are just presentation controls that we can use, and viewing options. So, how do we then start even with a mere first slide? The first slide normally uses a title slide layout. What is a layout? A layout is how content is expected to be presented. Now, this layout shows us that this slide has 2 sections. The first one is where we expect it to click and add a title. And then here we can add the subtitle. That is why I say that the first slide normally uses a title slide layout. So we are going to click inside the first placeholder and we type the title of our presentation. For demonstration purposes, I'll type Introduction to Information Communication Technology as our title. So I'll type Introduction to Information and Communication Technology. In the second placeholder, you see this placeholder has click to add a subtitle. I'm going to type the presenter's name and details about the presenter. It could be your registration number, it could be your stage name, it could be your details. So for my case, I'm going to put by Mildred, or I can just say by Mildred, and that can be my subtitle. A title should be simple, clear, and professional. A slide, not a title, a slide. Every slide should be clear, simple, and professional. But now for this title slide, it should even be more clearer, more simpler. Avoid placing too much information in these slides. For example, this being the first slide, the title slide, we don't need to fill it with unnecessary information. All the other information regarding our presentation can be put in the other slides. Now, how do we add those other slides? That takes us to another important aspect called adding a new slide. To add a new slide, you go to the Home tab and you select New Slide. Remember we said these are the tabs: File, Home, Insert, Draw, Design, Transition, Animation, Slideshow. So we now want the Home tab. Under Home tab, here there is an option of New Slide. PowerPoint provides us with this. So when you click New Slide, you're also going to see there are several slide layouts. The layout you choose will depend on the type of content you want to present. For example, title and content. This layout here, called title and content, is usually suitable for headings followed by text, or headings followed by picture, tables, or charts. This other of two content, for it is very useful when you're comparing two ideas. We have another one for section header. Section header can introduce a new part of the presentation. We have this one of blank. Blank will give you an empty slide where you can be able to arrange objects freely. So, choosing and changing the slide layout entirely depends on the content. So for our case, maybe we can just add a title and content slide. But also, this does not mean that in an instance or in a scenario where you realize that the layout you selected does not work, you can't change it. No, you can always change the layout. You usually just need to select the slide from this pane. Remember we said the slide pane is on the left, so you just need to choose maybe, is this the slide you want to change its layout? You choose it, and then you come back here on the slide layout and change or correct the layout that you want to use. Maybe you want the two content. So you can always add, when you're adding, give a layout. If it doesn't work, always go back and change it. Something else we do in presentations, we can add text to a slide. Remember how we added text in the first one? We went in the placeholder for title. We typed our sample title. We came in the placeholder with subtitle. We put the presenter's details. We added our slide. Now we are saying you can be able to add text to any slide. You just need to click inside the placeholder and type. For example, here they are saying click to add title. Maybe we could put a title about introduction to computer. Introduction to computers. Then we can click inside this other placeholder and put main points. PowerPoint is not meant for writing long paragraphs. Please note. It is meant for short phrases and key points. For example, instead of writing an entire paragraph about functions of a computer, present the information using a few clear bullet points. Your detailed explanations should then come from you as the presenter, not from having overcrowded slides. So maybe we will be looking at the functions of a computer, or we can start with definition. Definition of a computer. This could be followed by functions of a computer. And maybe disadvantages of computers. So you can do this for as many slides as you want, depending on how you want your presentation to flow. And remember we said for this kind of slide, we can use it for comparison. Maybe you want to tell people Windows, or you can say Windows computer versus Linux. Or you can even just, I'm looking at anything. We can just say Windows or Linux. And then on this side, we can say Windows does all this and this. Windows is good and this and the other. Or you're just comparing. Then the other side, on the other hand, we can say Linux does this and this. Linux does this. So anything. Now, all this content you have put in your slides can be formatted. So to format text, you have to first select it. For example, we want to format this text, we have to first select it. And then come back to these tabs and be able to make edits as required. For example, under the Home tab, you can be able to change the font style, font size, color, alignment, and any other text properties. Just make sure you use a clear and readable font. Maybe we can come here and we say, Aptos is also clear, but maybe to show how we change font, you can come here and let's say you change to this font. You can say maybe the text color is not good, I want to give them blue. You can say the left alignment is not good, I want the words to be center aligned. You could just say the font size is too small, let me increase it a bit from 28 maybe to 32. All those can be edits. But now, as we are doing this, we need to note some things. For example, this is the title. You cannot have the title smaller than the content. So you can make the title big and also try maybe to increase its font and see how the presentation looks like. Make sure that the text is large enough to be read by someone sitting at the back of the room. Avoid using too many font styles or colors in only one presentation. It makes the work look unprofessional. And if it is an assessment, it can even make you lose some marks because the presentation will not be appealing to the viewers or to the examiners. Other things we can use bullets and numbering. Maybe if this was an overview of what we're going to cover, you can say, let me make it left aligned, but also I want it to be numbered. Numbering is usually more appropriate when explaining things like steps, procedures, or information that needs to follow a sequence. While bullets are suitable when you're listing related points that do not have to follow any order, but they are related. So keep each point brief and avoid placing too many items on one slide. What more can we do in Microsoft PowerPoint? We can apply a theme. To change the overall appearance of the presentation, you just need to come in the Design tab. PowerPoint provides you with different themes under this tab. A theme applies coordinated colors, coordinated fonts, background across your entire presentation. So you select a simple and professional theme that supports your content. Avoid backgrounds that make the text difficult to read. There should always be good contrast between the text and the background. So maybe we can take the theme. You see how it will balance the background, the text color. So that is also another thing that you can use. And after selecting a theme, you may see different variants. You see down here, on the left we have themes. Here we have variants. Now, these allow you to change color combination or style, but when you're maintaining the same theme, for example, this same theme, in the variants, you can be able to change the color combination, change the effect. You can say maybe, I think, let me maintain the theme, but this looks better. Or you can say this other variant is better. Or the dark one is better. So, a theme and a variant, we can be able to look at different alternatives of the same theme. You choose one design and you use it consistently throughout the presentation. Using many unrelated designs can make your presentation look disorganized. Another thing we can do, we can insert images in presentations. Let's add a new slide, maybe this time around we can test with a blank one, or even the theme, if it's not nice, we can put the bright one. So, how do we insert a picture? You just need to come here under the Insert tab. Then select Pictures. When you click on Pictures, choose whether the picture is stored on your device, which is the first option, or it can be from another source, stock online or online pictures. So, my case, I'll go with the stock because I want to locate the image and insert it. So, in stock, since we are talking about computers, we can get pictures about computers. And then you can scroll through. Let me take this one. After locating it, you click here on Insert. And it will show you that they are downloading the picture because I'm getting it from online. Then the picture is here. But you see that it has taken the whole space. Now that calls for resizing this picture. You can resize using different things. We have those corner handles. You can select the picture like this and use these corner handles to make it fit on the slide. This picture even has other variants this side, but we're okay with this. Always resize from the corners so that you maintain the correct proportions of the picture. For example, if you choose to resize maybe from here, you see how the cup looks like now and the laptop? You have changed the proportions. You've stretched the image from the sides. So it is better you come in the corner and you adjust, because here the picture maintains all its correct proportions. And then also we can position these pictures with the text. You can be able to drag in the corner, drag it at any point where you want it to be. Apart from pictures, we can also insert shapes. Let's add a new slide here. And this is about shapes. Still, we go back to the Insert tab. And then we choose Shapes here under Illustrations. When you click on Shapes, they'll present the shapes. Let me take this basic shape and then you can bring the shape here. Now, shapes are useful when you're creating simple diagrams or when you're highlighting information. You may also use icons, depending on the version of PowerPoint you're working with. But use them consistently. So avoid adding too many decorative elements, unless when they match or they suit the presentation you're working on. You can add any other form of shape. You can edit the style, give it a different color and all that. You can even insert smart art to create a visual representation of information, still under this tab of Insert. But this time around, we can choose to say you're going to put art, different images. We have the word art here. We have the chart, the smart art is here. So these and more are some of the different things we can have. Maybe you want to have here to say, let's assume you're representing an organization flow. Here you have manager, and then you want to show us that maybe the manager works with a director, and then maybe under the manager we have marketing officer, and maybe the marketing officer works with the sales team, and maybe the sales team works with operations. We're just trying to see some of the different things we can do. We can always resize like we said, and place the images appropriately according to the presentation. We can also add charts from maybe Microsoft Excel, tables, or we can even create the charts from here, charts and tables. Still, we go back to the Insert tab, and then we insert a table. You can come here and you say, I want to insert a table. Click on table. How many rows and columns do you need? And then your table will be added. Change it, edit it, give the table styles. Or still you can come back, and then this time around you want to put a chart. Maybe sometimes you can even select it if you had it somewhere and you just paste it here. Or you can choose to insert it from here. And then maybe go ahead and edit. Let's say maybe you don't need this, so you can delete it. And then maybe on the categories, you want to maintain only 2. Still, you can be able to delete some of the categories. delete that category and delete this one. And then maybe you want to fill in the data, come here and edit. Maybe you don't want category 2, you just say data 2, anything. And all these can be done and included in our presentations, because remember, sometimes you might be presenting and you're required to add in information from somewhere else, to add in an Excel file, to add in a PowerPoint file, to add, a graph in your PowerPoint file. Then we can also add slide transitions. A transition is that visual effect used when you're moving from one slide to another. So how do we add these transitions? You need to select a slide and then go to the transition tab, maybe the first slide. Up here, you're seeing where the cursor is moving. We have a tab called transition. Go to that tab and choose a simple transition, such as we can take the fade. You see how that has transitioned or has moved to the next slide? You can adjust the duration for which you want this transition to happen. You can make the transition for all slides to be the same. Or some slides can have a different transition. And if you're keen, on the left, each of the slide we are adding a transition on, it's having a star. You can say, let me make this one have a different one. Another thing we add is usually the animation. Now, animations are different from transition in a way that transition was controlling how the slides are moving from one to another. Animation is controlling how the text will be appearing on a slide. For example, that is a transition. Now, there is animation here on the animation tab. For it, it is going to control the text. So we are going to select an object on the slide. Then we go under the animation tab and we choose the interest effect we want to see. For example, this is our heading. We can select it and then choose, maybe we want the heading to fly in. You can see it is flying in. So these animations should support your explanations. Don't add too many effects simply because they are available, but you can add effects that are related and have meaning. Maybe after the title has appeared like that, you can say the presenter can come like that. Then here, how do you want this title to appear? Maybe you want it to fade, or you want it to just come, or it should fly in also. And when it flies in, the first comparison, what do you want to do? You can even select others. Maybe you want them to bounce one by one. So, just for emphasis, the difference between transition and animations, it is important to understand the difference because transitions occur when moving from one slide to another, while animations affect the objects within a slide, such as the text, the picture, the shapes that we have been adding. Maybe we want that image to be split. We want these shapes to fly in. Then what more? We can also add speaker notes. At the bottom of the slide, you may see the notes section. Here, down. Click to add notes. Now, speaker notes can be added here. They allow you to record any additional information that you want to remember when you're presenting. These notes do not normally appear to the audience during the slideshow. They can help you organize your explanation without placing too much text. Maybe you can say, when I reach here, I need to emphasize on shapes. So, when you reach there, you remember that there is something you need to do. These slides, we also rearrange them to change the order of the slides. You come back to this slide pane here on the left. You click let's say we want to arrange this slide to take it up, and you drag to the position where you want it to be placed. So you can always remove, select, delete, paste a slide. And when all that is done, we always do what we call a slideshow to present these slides to people. But we can always do this from this tab. You see this tab here where the cursor is pointing? It's called slideshow. Now, to present these slides, you click the slideshow tab, but now we want to choose. Is it from the beginning? We want to start from the start with the first slide, or you want to start from the current slide number 3. If you want to begin from the slide where you are currently, you can even just use a shortcut like F5. And the shortcut will always take us to the presentation mode. So during presentations, you click the mouse or you use those arrow keys to move between slides. But let's first see under this slideshow. From the beginning, it's here. From the current slide, it's here. Alternatively, the shortcut of F5 can be used and it will give us a slideshow. So when we do from the beginning like this, you can see that the presentation has become a full entire screen. We just need to keep using arrow keys. Whenever I press the arrow key, it will display the slide content following the transitions and animations that we put. Now here, please note, there is a way of making the presentation run automatically. This time round, it is not automatically. We are using arrow keys or the mouse, or sometimes they are pointers. And then it will happen, you keep clicking next and next and next until when you reach the end. If you connect your computer to a projector or to a second screen, it will usually take you to the presenter view, which may display your current slide, next slide, speaker notes, and our presentation time. So the audience will only see the main slide. So the presenter view usually helps you to deliver the presentation more confidently because you'll be seeing that extra content. And all those are beautiful, but we want to save the presentation. You don't want to prepare and organize and then you lose the files. So we have to save the presentation. You come here on File, and then you choose Save As. The difference between Save As and Save As, we are saving for the first time, so we need to identify location. Or we can even be saving the same file, but in a different location. While Save is usually, we are saving only the additional changes. So to save your file, we've gone to Save As. Now we want to choose a location. We'll come to Browse and see where do we want to save this file. Maybe we can just have it on the desktop, not in a folder, but just on a desktop. And we need to give it a clear file name. If it's an assignment, usually they will give you guidelines on how you need to name it. But for our case, we can name it ICT presentation. After that, we already identified location is desktop. We click Save. So, PowerPoint presentations are normally saved with the extension .pptx. And when we close this file and go to the desktop, you see our presentation is right here. We can open to confirm it is what we have just worked on. Yes, it is even showing if we want to go back to where we just closed off from. Sometimes actually, you may be asked to submit your presentation as a PDF. Maybe you want people to get a copy. So now there, remember we said the same file can be saved in different formats. So you just come back to File, you come to Save As, and now you're going to change the file type. Remember by default, we said there is a file extension .pptx. Now here, if they said PDF, come on File Type and change. Look for that format called PDF because sometimes they want you to share your file. You click Save still. So it will keep your original PowerPoint file so that in case you need to edit, you can edit later, but then it will create for you this PDF version. And when you come back on the desktop, we should be able to see both files are here. This is the PDF and this is the PowerPoint. These and many more things are some of the things that we do. We can be able to in the slideshow, to give a set and say, we want these slides to control themselves after this number of seconds or minutes. You can put timings, you can put sound, and very many other things. But this being just the basics, we're going to stop from here. But we need to know there are some mistakes that we can avoid because they are common. Some of the common PowerPoint mistakes include putting too much text on one slide. Every time you do that, your work is unprofessional. Your work looks disorganized. Your work is going to be boring to the people you're presenting to. Another common mistake, using small font size. Remember, people always sit in different positions. Now, if you have a small font size, it literally means the person sitting at the back cannot read what is on the screen. Choosing colors that have poor contrast. Adding too many animations and transitions that are not uniform and not necessary. Using irrelevant low-quality images. Having different fonts and designs. Every slide is in a different font. Every slide is in a different size. Forgetting to test before you present. Always test your PowerPoint. Saving randomly in a place that is unknown. So it is just good practice that always we review the slides and we run the slideshow before submission or before presentation. And congratulations, you now know essential Microsoft PowerPoint skills that you need in order to create, to design, to save, and to deliver a basic presentation. In the next practical ICT tutorial, we shall learn how to locate missing files, how to understand file paths on a computer, and many more things under this channel. Subscribe to IT and Research Accelerator for more ICT, programming, embedded systems, security, and research tutorials. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next lesson.